Hello everyone, welcome to Filmcopact. Today we have with us one of the few contemporary voices in Bengali cinema who has made us proud at the world stage with his astonishing frames and compelling stories about the city we all belong to. We have with us today Mr. Aditya Vikram Sengupta, who has given modern Bengali cinema a new and a very distinct voice. He's a director, cinematographer, and graphic designer. His first film, Asha Jawar Majhe, or The Labor of Love, released in 2014, which premiered at the 11th Venice section of the Venice International Film Festival, winning the Fediora Award. It also won the National Award for the Best Debut. The film completes its 8 years in 2022, and here we are to talk about it. We also discuss his latest film, Once Upon a Time in Calcutta, which also premiered in Venice, and we are super excited for its India release. Ayatullah, thank you for joining us today. It is an absolute pleasure.
Likewise, thanks.
For Asha Jawar Majhe, as I have watched, or Jonaki that I have watched, even the trailer of Once Upon a Time in Calcutta appears much more accessible. Is that the case? I mean, I also hear similar things from Rohan, but it seems much more accessible that you have made this film where you wanted more closer interactions with the audience. So was that a conscious decision or is it not so?
Accessible is a very problematic word to start with. Accessible for who? For example, a Bollywood film might not really be accessible for me. So are you saying that is it a film for the masses?
No, I'm saying that I kind of felt that here you are actually having more of a dialogue than say in Jonaki or in Asha Jawar Majhe, where you seem to be more of a dreaming. Jonaki felt absolutely like a dream to me, and Asha Jawar Majhe is also like, you might be in silence looking at a couple, but here you are, talking to the people in the city, more of, different people who represent the city in different ways.
Yeah. So again, this is, so I don't know accessible or not. This is a very dialogue heavy film again. And for me, the representation of the city was through people and through different mindsets, because city is what? City is, I mean, there's a geographical aspect to it. But most importantly, it's the people who make the city. Right. And I wanted to explore the city and the various mindsets through these people. And I also think that it's not just limited to our city. It's a story of the entire world pretty much in varying degrees of what exactly. So every city, every country is going through the same thing pretty much.
Yeah.
No, so honestly, I didn't, I think it's pretty evident that I don't think about an audience before making the film. So that was never a thought. And, but it's nothing that I take pride in or any of that. It's absolutely, it's not like I'm dissing the audience or, audiences. No, absolutely not. But it's not the other way around. Of course, after making the film, I really want audiences to watch it, and I'll be more than happy and grateful the more the people watch. But I'm not making films keeping an audience in mind, because audience, you can never, who is an audience? Because there are so many different kinds of people.
Yeah.
And the moment you choose one, you're immediately, showing disregard for the rest. Now they will feel bad. So now if you choose 2-3 sections, and then the rest will feel bad. So you can never choose an audience. So I think choosing an audience and making a film is actually quite an insensitive approach towards, kind of making something. But again, it's a financial game. There's money, there's stakes and all of that. That's a separate discussion altogether.
Yeah.
But no, I wasn't. And it's mainly my reactions to a changing city after the new government came into power, because a lot of things drastically changed. And not just that, 2-3 things happened at the same time. There was this whole IT sector boom that happened. Phones became a window to the world for everyone. And by everyone, now we mean everyone. So even the people who are begging on the streets have cell phones and they have internet access. So the whole worldview, the whole appetite of people, hunger of people, everything's completely changed. And then there's, all the political stuff that's happening and everything that, Bengal's gone through. So it was basically my attempt in understanding and processing that, the last 10 years or 9 years in Bengal. And I also realized that it's not just a phenomena which is relevant in Bengal, but it's relevant worldwide. And so that was my attempt. It was, again, to process and understand society as a whole, rather than, already claim that, I have understood it. Now here is what I have to say about it. It's not that at all.
So I was thinking of Asha Jawar Majhe and the political context of it, and I find it to be very subterranean in a way. It has references to it, the slogans and the radio kind of feeds that we have. But that subterranean political context kind of allows room for the characters to hope more, even in dire circumstances. In Once Upon a Time in Calcutta, we have the same city, but at a later stage, where it's going through this vortex of change, and people are as if they are, this spirit of optimism, this spirit of hope has kind of gone. Everybody's hope is crushed. So do you believe that times have become much more difficult for a man to kind of realize his aspirations and desires? And how do you see this overall change and in your movies?
Again, I don't think the hope is gone in Once Upon a Time in Calcutta, because it in a very playful manner. I mean, tonally, it's a very interesting film.
Because it's a glorious film. It's a glorious film. Yeah.
And there's all these people are trying to hold on to something, like scavengers.
Yes.
It's as if you're on a pile of garbage.
Hustlers.
And everyone's trying to get something out of something.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty of it. That's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of people. And, that is what keeps us going. And of course, it ends on a positive note. I mean, something good happens. But at the same time, you cannot ignore the degeneration and the disintegration of the city and people in general, that I have felt. And I have felt that a lot in Calcutta. I mean, how people were 10, 12 years back, people are not the same way. The empathy levels are way lower. Sympathy is way lower. Just, warmth, general warmth is not there. Camaraderie is not there. And again, with the coming of cell phones, it just doesn't help. People are not connected to reality or real emotions or the real world. And, they're constantly aspiring to be somewhere else, something else, without even knowing what it is, why it is. So it's a very complex sort of a situation every country, every city, the world is going through. And the idea is to kind of balance it out. Balance is the key to kind of growth. I mean, if there's a human who's growing disproportionately, it will disturb you. Right. At the age of 3, if the legs become like how it would be when he's 18, and the fingers become so long at the age of 1 year, it will disturb you. So it all has to happen, uniformly. So even when governments make policies, when there are people in power, they're all adults, they're educated people, but more often they behave like children. I mean, in fact, children are more
sensible.
I mean, they behave. So everything that they do is just so stupid. And so these are the things that amuse me. And just doing unnecessary things like painting the city over and over again, or doing something. But again, I cannot take away from the fact that the city is really cleaned up and nice. But again, there is no balance. There needs to be like, so it's just my observations. It's not a comment on any political thing, or it's not a stand politically. Absolutely not. So,
would you say that it is more driven by you talked about stupidity? Would you say it is more about stupidity, or would you say it is more about this unending urge of making more and more money or profit or exploiting others, due to which people tend to take those decisions of doing those things?
See, and that also comes from a place of not knowing oneself. Now, if you already know that this is what I want to stay in this place, this is what I want to do, these are the things that I want in my life, these are the things that make me happy, you can equate that and put a cost to it, right? But if you don't know what makes you happy, right, when you don't know, when you can't put activities to it, when you haven't spent that time with yourself to understand who you are and what your need is, that is when that unending urge for money comes in. Earning money cannot be a motivation or a hobby by itself. What do? I collect money. It's a very stupid thing to do, right? It's what you do with that money or how you translate it to make your life better or your experience better. But they're not doing that. These people are not doing it because they don't know what to do. So the only obvious thing that they see from each other and they constantly do is make money, thinking that that's going to take them somewhere, but it's not going to take anyone anywhere. And that's the sad truth. Unless you know what to do, if you know what to do with the money, then you'll know how much money to earn or how much more to earn. Then there's still a purpose to it.
Actually, you remind me of one New York Times cartoon which I saw a couple of years back. Is this a group of people are sitting in a cave and there is this person with a tie and a suit and he's telling stories and he says that the earth was destroyed, everything is rotten, everyone died, but for a very small period of time we made a lot of money for our shareholders. So that is where we are eventually heading. I would like to ask you about, and it's not really a loaded question, and I know you do not, you have said that you've made it very clear that you're not really making any statement, but what we have seen that from what you have heard from Rohan is that there are references to what has happened in the city, like going through like Ponzi scams and flyover mishaps. And this is really refreshing to see in Bengali cinema, not because of anything else, but because of the fact that this talks about where we are, this particular time and space. But why do you think this is not reflected much more in Bengali cinema, the realities of our days? Why do you think it is not captured in the way, or even in any other way, the way you have done it in this film?
It's a hard question for me to answer, but I would say it comes from a sense of fear, maybe. Then it's pretty clear. I mean, if I'm not, or I don't know what there's to be. I mean, there's to be scared of also, but because I haven't shown anything that is, controversial or any of that. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe people didn't think it was interesting enough to be talked about, or again, people just saw it as a money scheme and didn't really get into the human side of it.
So connected to that, I wanted to see, have the people also become complacent regarding all these things? I mean, I hardly see anyone kind of perturbed by all these things anymore. In a more just general sense, I'm saying, not all.
No, I think there's definitely a complacency is. I mean, I think Bengalis excel at it anyway. And we are amazing at just dissecting other people and everything that other people do. They don't know how to eat, they don't know how to do this. Are erokom bhabe kyo mach khaye, he doesn't know, khetei jane na, shekhei ni kokhono. So we are experts of doing that. So we are anyway complacent. Like we are anyway we know it all. We know so much that we don't need to do anything only. So, but then there are some people who still feel the need to do some stuff and work and, just make films. But there is, but I think it also has to do a lot with the population of the country. Because when you have 1,000 marbles, you won't mind losing 10. But when you have 20, losing 10 marbles becomes very valuable to you. Each marble becomes very valuable to you, right? So if something like, like a flyover mishap happened in Poland or say in New Zealand, the PM would have gone absolutely crazy if 3,000 people died or 2,000 people died in a train accident. But over here, it's a very common thing for just people to die. And even during COVID, what happened and, the situation in Delhi, If it happened in any other country, they would have gone completely berserk. Just seeing those images and, seeing people, bodies on the Yamuna and all of that. But I think it's to do with just the number of people this country has.
Yeah, but then, Aditya, if we talk about cinema from any other, region, if we talk about Bollywood even, there are mainstream films also which touch upon things that's happening in the country. Like that, there will be a reference to a demonetization. In Tamil films, Malayalam films, say Hindi films, I'm not saying it is a great cinematic appeal or the political stand is absolutely correct. I mean, it's very difficult to say which is correct. But a film should also talk about the time it is being made. It's a part of the time and space. It's kind of a historical archive the films also belong to. It's very unfortunate that in Bengali films, I mean, we cannot find out from a film today that it
Are you
is
talking about
belonging to.
Are you talking about Bengali films or Indian films?
I'm talking about in Indian films, we still have references in a Hindi mainstream or in Tamil.
Bengali films, I can't comment only. So it's beyond commentary for me at this point of time. But yeah, if you talk about Indian cinema and a few Bengali films being a part of that Indian film, then Bengali industry, alada kore, I have nothing to dissect or talk about. It's pointless. I mean, similarly, like even for Bollywood, I don't have anything to like separately talk about Bollywood or Malayali cinema. But as Indian cinema as a whole, there's a lot of interesting work happening. I feel there's lesser work happening from Bengal to that, what you're saying, to kind of archiving time and recording time as we move through it. I don't know. There's nothing happened in the recent past which is to do with the current political scenario or social.
Nothing.
Okay.
It's like nothing. Politics does not exist in the cinema at all. I mean, that's it's like we are in a vacuum.
That is also political. The time yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know what's up with, all of this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We heard that you kind of, we saw that Gokhant Teriyaki was involved over here. So, was it very difficult to kind of make him understand your vision about a story which was rooted in a particular culture, which is so alien to this person, a cinematographer, and he's also a visual kind of storyteller? And how do you kind of come on board together with this? So was it a difficult process to kind of translate your vision about a culture, about a city, which is so alien to him?
The first 1 week was very difficult. But more than me, it was very difficult for them. So there were 4 of them who came, and this was the first time they actually traveled out of Europe. And Calcutta is not the easiest of places to come out of Europe for the first time. So they were really struggling with the sound and the noise and the pollution and the driving and all of that. So it took a long time for them to kind of adjust to that. But they didn't let any of their discomforts or adjusting, they didn't let it come in the way of the shooting or any of that. It was absolutely amazing. And we had translated the entire script in Turkish. Because English was a very difficult language to understand. I mean, by the end of it, their English improved really, and there was one person on the team who was a little better than the others. But otherwise, it was very, very difficult to converse and talk. But after a week, we found our ways of talking to each other.
Okay. Another thing that I noticed, I might have heard somewhere that your film was titled earlier "Memories and My Mother."
That was the working title of the
working title. Okay, so I wanted to ask that this film, what I felt is that it is distinctly haunted by these absentee mother figures. I mean, Sreelekha's mother is not present for her. She also loses the status of being a mother soon in the film, early in the film. Then we don't have any mother of Bratya's character, Raja Bubuda. We don't have Raja's mother. We don't have the beautician's mother. So, and overall, the city as a mother also, if you see it as a representative of a mother figure, it also does not provide any kind of solace to the characters.
And is also in a way motherless.
In a motherless, yeah. So what was your idea behind that? I was so fascinated by this idea.
It was exactly this. So it's, it's the sense of, like how a child feels lost when the mother abandons him. I just feel all of these people are like that. And when I actually see real people doing these silly things, it actually seems like that. They actually seem like lost children. When, they don't know what to do, trying to grab onto things. And, it's just so sad to kind of see. So I kind of had that recurring motif in the film of, everyone and everything being motherless.
And also, as we have seen in the trailers, this motif of the Rabindranath Tagore busts and then the dinosaur being brought down and all. So is it also like the past is crumbling, but we do not know what to do with the present? Is that kind of a sense also coming across through your film?
Rabindranath is basically our father's property now. Okay, so we can do anything with him. So let's not get into what I'm doing with him. So I can choose to blow his statues up also. It's fine. I have the right to do that. Don't question me on such things. So no, but otherwise, the dinosaur was the inception of the film. When the flyover had reached, so the dinosaur was there in front of Science City, and the flyover was approaching from the Park Circus side, and it had come and reached the dinosaur, and I had clicked a picture of that. And later when I looked at that picture, it kind of made me feel a lot of things about, it almost seemed like a race that both of them were about to start. And it made me question just relevance and when things become irrelevant and unfit for the social system. Like, for example, Bratya's character, it almost becomes like he almost becomes like a dinosaur where he cannot exist anymore in the system that he is in, because, whatever is required to feed him is no longer there or no longer relevant. And so this is what I mean by, when things don't grow and change proportionately, this is what happens. And so if you go around the city, if you go around every corner of the city, you'll find millions of these people who are all living in their own worlds, which haven't changed at all. And, when these two people interact with each other, it's like two so different worlds interacting with each other that it's impossible to coexist. So that is how that was the relevance of the dinosaur, and that's how it.
There's this beautiful shot, I think that's also in the trailer that I've seen, where the statue has been brought down and there's this engineer standing in front and smoking like it's a victory. That short, second was like so intriguing. It's like one statue, it has been brought down, and it's a sense of victory that in that few frames that we see.
Yeah. So
I mean, our sense of losses and victories. Tell us about the casting. The casting in your films is also always very interesting. I mean, we have heard you say that you thought Sreelekha Mitra is the only person who could have played this lead character. So why is that? And also, you get a role for your father. You bring this actress Shimu from Bangladesh. The other actor, I think, Orindam was one of the actors who is actually working in a US farm, but you get him from the film, and he kind of gives that vibe of that role, that the role is made for his kind of a look. So how do you make these casting choices, or what happened in this case?
See, the casting for this film happened for around 3 years.
Okay.
And Sreelekha is definitely the only person who could play this character, because this character is her only. And coincidentally, even during the shooting, she was actually trying to move into her new flat and new apartment, and it was exactly what Ella wanted at that point of time. And and she also has all the men's attention all the time. So and having said all of that, she is a stunning actor. Like, she's absolutely gorgeous, as an actor, and we haven't seen her in such roles. But I think what she and every other actor has done in this film is it's unbelievable. And I'm so blessed and lucky that they've done this on this film. So the casting process took a lot of time. We auditioned about 50 theater groups all across Calcutta and outskirts, and the completely new people who have screened, who have come on screen. And it was also a very painful process shooting the scenes, because we went up to 40, 50 takes for really long scenes. And but again, the actors were never tired. They were never, they always wanted to give more and more and more of themselves, including the dog. So it was really a very, very humbling and beautiful process.
I have read somewhere that when you shoot, before you shoot, you kind of rehearse the scene multiple times and you find for the angles, right angles to kind of shoot. So how is that process kind of? Is it true or?
No. So all Once Upon a Time in Calcutta, if you see the scenes, they have a sense of naturalness to it. So much that it actually seems like an impromptu observer's point of view. Right. Or, it seems like they're improvising. But they are rehearsed to the T, and they have been rehearsed for months earlier. And multiple times. So we've had like 3 months of rehearsals before we went on floor. And then once we go on floor, I would ask the actors to play the scenes, and we would keep watching it over and over again, finding the right way to capture it. And then we would tell the art team and the lighting team to kind of do it up, and then we would shoot. So it was usually a long and tedious process for each scene.
From what I have heard from Rohan and what is apparent from the trailer is that there is the sound design of the film, where you talk about, there is a Hindol Chakraborty and there is Minko Exman. You create a haunting soundscape for the film, like which captures the pulls of this city, of the nostalgia as well as the future marked by uncertainty. Would you like to share your experience about creating this unique soundscape for the movie?
Creating the soundscape for this film was it was very interesting, because we were constantly trying to get into the emotion of the scenes and the characters, and then creating the external world around it in terms of sound, and so that not to take away or give too much to the character or the scene and things like that. But at the same time, stick to the natural nature of, how we hear and process sound in daily life. So although there was a certain times when we took liberties and, cinematic liberties of getting in rumbles and things like that. But it was, my sound processes all my processes are really painful. It's so painful that even I really suffer to it. Yeah, no, it's just so difficult to work with myself. It's and it just, the whole thought of it only made me tired right now.
No, the soundscape was amazing. I was reminded of this particular scene where Shimu kind of puts on this nail polish over Sreelekha's nails, and it kind of coordinates with the sound of that pigeon kind of cuckooing, and it's so beautifully coordinated, and the sound kind of elevates the scene to another level altogether. It's a beautiful soundtrack that you have over there.
So that was there, and even when Jonaki soundtrack happened,
yes,
that was a complete that was suffering of a different level completely. I don't know how many of you all have watched it. But
yes, we did in Kolkata.
But so that was a very, very intense. Even this was a very intense process. In fact, we are still working on the sound. So sound never finishes for me. And anyway, so with Minko, it was very nice. It was, we took about 3 months to finish the entire soundtrack, and then he got into recording. It was unfortunate that I couldn't travel and record, but yeah, he really gave a very different dimension to the film and really kind of enhanced it. It gave it such a like a very poetic and deep feeling, like a very soulful feeling to it.
So when do we get to watch it? Are you planning a theatrical release, or it will be something you are considering OTT?
Pluto has started conversations. So hopefully we should have something soon. Let's see. And I definitely want to release the film in Calcutta, because I really want it, and I think it's a film for everyone to watch.
Absolutely.
And so that's something that I really want. So we are working towards it. So hopefully it'll happen.
Because your films, true to what the medium is, your films is so much about visuals, and it needs to be seen in the big screen is
Absolutely.
what we felt for the first two films, and definitely the trailer also suggests the same.
Mm-hmm.
It won't give the same experience in an OTT. Absolutely not. I mean, it's not possible.
Even it was such a waste that Jonaki, we didn't release it in the theater. Even if it was for a week, we could have done that, but it went directly to an OTT. But it's not a film for OTT at all.
I have watched it in Mummy. So when it was there in Mummy, I have watched it. And whenever I talk about it to someone who has watched it in OTT, it's an absolutely different, films that we have watched is what the conversation ends in.
Actually, Mummy screenings were quite nice. I remember.
It was.
We had met during Mummy, right?
I think I spoke to you for once, but yeah, I mean, just on the passing after it finished, the screening was finished. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And what's next, Aditya? What's next you are working on?
Nothing right now. Just been. I'm actually right now involved with a lot of music. I've always been into music since childhood, and I've always wanted to be a musician. I ended up making films. So right now I'm doing a lot of music and recording a lot of stuff. So, and writing also, but mainly lockdown is something that kind of really got me back properly into music again. I was always into it, but it was not like, I've always been wanting to start recording and producing and writing stuff, which I didn't end up doing, but it's finally kind of happening.
Taking cue from the previous question, I wanted to ask that, as Arudha said that your films are always meant for bigger screens. Would you consider even working for a OTT or planning to kind of work on a series or sometime in soon?
Series, no.
Do you have any?
Series, no, because it's not a format that excites me.
Okay.
At all. But the other one, I mean, working for an OTT, sure, because I don't think we'll be left with choices. At the rate at which things are going, and especially with COVID constantly looming on our heads, it's impossible to say what's going to happen.
Either this is nothing like not taking anything away from the marketing team or whatever of your team, but your cinema, we feel, is that should be better well known in India also, not only Europe and US, because we are constantly hear things about like the past of Bengali cinema, but the present of Bengali cinema, what you are doing, it's absolutely beautiful, and more Indians should also be able to see it and watch it. So I think it's important that people from the South and other places also are like exposed to the kind of cinema which you are doing, and we hope that you really take that.
Even we are trying our best.
Yeah,
we are really trying our best.
I think we are towards the end of it, Ayatullah. I think this was.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
And we are waiting for Once Upon a Time in Kolkata to watch it on a bigger screen. I mean, it deserves all the praise that we are getting. It's such a glorious film.
Sure. I really hope we are able to do that.